Question 5, database. A database was created to store data about tourists and the pyramids they choose to visit. Open the 5 Egypt database. 5.1. Change the table 5.1 table as follows. 5.1.1. Change the indexed field property of the T surname field to allow for duplicate values. So we go to Design View. It's the T surname field. The indexed property needs to be yes, duplicates okay. I was able to switch between them just by double clicking. You can also choose the drop down. 5.1.2. Display the date in the T birth date field in the short date format. So format is the display type, and choose short date. 5.1.3. Change the T age field properties to display the age without decimals. Right, so currently it's number, fixed, and it says auto. So fixed is the correct format, but it needs to be without decimals, so I'm going to make it 0. Let's go check. So I'll go to design, so to datasheet view. Yes, I want to save, and T age, no decimals. 5.1.4. Set the field properties of the e-contact field so that the user can only enter text that contains an @ sign. Okay. So e-contact needs to be the email address. Okay. So the validation rule needs to prohibit them from entering anything that doesn't contain an @ sign. So to have something contain something, I need to enter a star, an @ and a star. Now let's see if that works. There you go. It automatically added in the double quotation marks and the operator like. So this is just the way you would do a query to extract all the email addresses with an @ in the same way I can use that for a validation rule. Save. Now you'll always get this message when you've added in a validation rule. You never have to worry about it. You'll always just say yes, you want it tested, and yes, you'll use that. 5.1.5. Set the T-type field to an appropriate field size. So, T-type, domain type in an email address. Okay, so from that I can't tell what it should be. Let's go have a look. Data sheet. So here I can see what it looks like. Okay, so it's all .gov, .org, there's a .us. All right, so I can actually have a look like this. Right, so those are all the options. So it looks like 4 are the maximum number of digits, right? So the field size, an appropriate size, would be 4. 5.1.6. Create an input mask for the user to enter data in the following format. Lowercase letters. The first character is a full stop, followed by 2 compulsory letters, followed by 1 optional letter. Note, the full stop must display when a record is selected. Okay, so let's just quickly go have a look at our input mask sheet. Right, so lowercase, we'll use the less than because it will cause all characters to be converted to lowercase. Compulsory letters, we'll use the L because this is entry required. Optional letters, we'll use the question mark. Okay, now for the full stop, that must literally just be displayed. I could just enter the full stop and see if that works. But if I want to be safe, I can just put a backslash in front of the full stop, and then I can be sure that it will actually display the literal character. Okay, that's what the backslash does. Right, so let's go ahead. So it's 2 compulsory letters followed by 1 optional letter. This is for the, it doesn't tell me for what it is, but I'm assuming it's still for the T-type field because this is exactly what it was. It's all domains, and the domains are either 2 letters or 3 letters. Okay, so T-type, input mask, it must be all lowercase, a full stop, 2 compulsory letters, and 1 optional letter. So that's how I would do it. Okay, to test if the full stop literally displays, if I save it, let's see if we go to a new record. There you go. I haven't typed that. That literally displays automatically. Okay, if you ever test something here, just so that you know, if I ever type something and test it, and you want to actually go back, you need to always undo until the pencil is gone, and then you can actually return. I see in this instance actually saved the record, which is not what I wanted. So I'm just going to go back. But in general, it often happens that you can't continue because you didn't enter something that was required or something. So then just undo until the pencil is gone, and then you can return back to your design view. 5.1.7. Center the content of the pyramid code field. So the pyramid code, we can center it here with text align, but you can also do it on your datasheet view and center align it there. And then you'll see it shows me text align center at the bottom here. So both ways are correct. 5.1.8. Create a combo box for the pyramid site field by using the table sites table. So let's just have a look quickly. Right, in this instance, it only has 1 column. So in this instance, one could do it as simply as go to the lookup tab, change this to a combo box, table, and choose the table that they wanted. Okay, table sites. And then it would work. I'll show you. Now I have a drop-down list with all those options. Okay. I'm going to show you the safer way though. The safer way would allow you, if there were more than 1 field, to choose the specific field in the table, because the way that I just showed you, you wouldn't be able to choose the field. So the safer way would have been to use a lookup wizard, then to say, I will type the values I want. That's what you usually do. You want the lookup field to get the values from another table. Next, which table? Table sites. Next, which field? The site table, the site field. You don't want to sort it. There are the sites. You keep the same label and finish. And then it creates a relationship between the two. That's the safer way to do it, because then you're actually able to say which specific field in that table it should use. Okay, but in this specific instance, both ways would have worked. Okay. 5.1.9. Switch to datasheet view. Insert the 5 Andrews picture found in your examination folder in the T photo field for the traveler Andrews Peter. So I'm in datasheet view. There's Andrews Peter. In T photo, we need to now add the photo. So I right click, insert object, create from file, browse, go choose the file, and you say OK. Right. Now, it depends on whether your program has the correct add-ons installed, whether this would say package or I think it says bitmap image. I can't remember. I think the latest versions of Access has a problem with this. If you don't install additional software, then it just says package. Either way, you wouldn't be able to see the photo until you create a form. So whichever message you see there, bitmap image or package, you've done it correctly. It's saved. It's done. Okay. Save and close. Not the whole database. No, man. I was silly. I was just supposed to close this specific object. 5.2. Open the form called Form 5.2 in Design View and do the following. Change the order of the fields to T surname, T name, E contact, T photo. So, at the moment, it starts with T name and then T surname, E contact, and T photo. So you'll see this is actually the record that's supposed to show the picture, but because my program doesn't have the right add-ons installed, it can't show the picture at the moment. So now I need to switch these around because it needs to be first surname, then name, then E contact, then T photo. So design view. You can see these are actually in a grid view because you'll see if I just try to drag it, it can't drag around. Let's see if we can just drag them. Ah, that was easy enough. I could literally just pull it and drag it. Otherwise, I probably would have been able, yes, to do it here with the move up and move down on the Arrange tab. There you go. But the drag was much easier. Next, it says, replace the heading in the form header with your examination number. So I'm just going to type a number in there, but that'll be your examination number. So it's the label in the form header, right? Okay. Then insert the date field in the form header. Okay. So I'm just going to choose date and time. I'm on the design tab, date and time. I'm just going to include date, not time as well. Okay. And there you go. If I had to move it to form footer, I could have just dragged it on any of the orange borders. But in this instance, it was supposed to be in the form header. So I leave it right there. And lastly, shade the E-contact field to any light color of your choice. E-contact, the field is the one on this side. I'll show you how you can be sure. If you click on Property Sheet, you'll see E-contact is the label. It doesn't have any data. The field is actually linked to the data. You'll see it actually says control source because that's the field it's linked to. Right, that's how you know you're using the right one. It's a text box and it's linked to the field in the data tab. Right, and it said I must shade it any light color of my choice. So I'm just going to right click fill back color and choose any light color of my choice. 5.3. Open the query 5.3 query in design view. Modify the query so that it displays the total number of pyramids at the Giza site. Save and close the query 5.3 query. Right, so open in design view. I'm just going to have a look at this anyway. They said I must open it in design view, but I just want to have a look here. And especially if your spelling is bad, it's always good to rather copy the text from here or from your table that you know it's based on, the table visitors table, and to use that as your criteria. So I'm supposed to just use the Giza site. There you go. And I need to count how many pyramids because they said, let's just check the question again. They said so that it displays the total number of pyramids at the Giza site. So if I actually count it manually, you'll see there are 13 pyramids, but I wanted to say there are 13 pyramids over here. Giza 13, that's what I wanted to say. So I want the pyramid field to be counted, okay, and site to be grouped. All the Giza, all this Giza must be grouped, and then pyramid must be counted. So I go to design view, I switch on totals, and you'll see now on the side here what changes. It adds a line called total, a row, and now I can group it by the site and the pyramid I want to count. And now I've got the total number of pyramids per site, specifically only for the Giza site. Save and close. 5.4. Open the query 5.4 query in Design View and do the following. Sort the query first according to surname field and then according to the name field. Right, so at the moment, name is first and surname is second. If I want to sort it in a different order, you'll see at the moment both fields have been sorted, but they want surname to be sorted first. I need to swap these fields. So there are two ways of me doing that. The one way is for me to actually click it with my black arrow and then move it with my white arrow. Or I could just change the field names and change this to surname and change this to name. So let's just do both. That was the one way, and the other way would have been to click and drag. Now you'll see it's first sorted by surname and then by name. So if I have, there you go, I've got two Comptons and they are sorted first alphabetically by surname and then by name. Now, display the records of those visitors who were born before 1960 and whose domain type is org or edu. Okay. So, born before 1960. At the moment, we can see that the birth date actually includes not just the year, but the month and the day as well. So I'm going to pick one that's close enough. Let me choose that one. Okay. Just so that I know what the format should be. And I want it to be less than 1960. Now, what's the start of 1960? The 1st of the 1st. Okay. All right. Let's see if that worked. Yeah, that seemed to have worked. Okay. And the domain type should only be, now let's just double check the question. They said, and whose domain type is org or edu. So that means I'm going to put it on the same row. So if I remember the data correctly, it's got .org and .edu correct. So I'm going to say .org or .edu, and it'll put the double quotation marks in the spaces for me automatically. And there you go. I've got .edu and .org only, and it's all before 1960s for birth date. Right. Now for the last part. Tourists receive a 15% discount on the visitor's cost. Insert a calculated field called payable to determine the amount payable after the discount has been deducted. So I'm going to show you the easiest way that I know of doing this is to use the builder. But to be able to use the builder, you need to add the field that you want to use in your calculation to the table. So I'm going to add the visitor's cost to the table first, then save the query, and then make a new field using the builder. Okay. Now you'll see now visitor's cost is available to me. If I didn't save it first, visitor's cost wouldn't be available to me. If your spelling and that kind of stuff is good, you could always just type in visitor's cost manually in the expression builder and you'll be fine. It's just for people who struggle with their spelling, this way is maybe easier. Right, so they said we need to determine a 15% discount for the visitors. For the tourists, and the field name must be payable. We'll change the field name just now. Let's just first work out the 15% discount and the payable afterwards. So firstly, to work out 15% discount, it would be visitors cost times, let's do the 15 over 100. That's the one most people usually use. Now, that only gives me 15%. I'm supposed to subtract 15% from visitors cost. So I could go and say visitors cost minus visitors cost times 15 over 100. That way I actually get what's left. That's how much is payable. Okay, this is my one solution. The other solution would be if I already know how much will be left if I subtract 15% from 100, 85%, right? So I could just say visitors cost times 85 over 100. That was my other option. Okay, both would be correct. Now you'll see what it does is, but if I use my builder, it adds in a field name called EXPR1 for expression 1. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that. We just need to change this field name now to payable. Payable. Okay, so how much is payable? That's how much is payable. And I'm going to now remove the visitors cost field. I didn't need it. It was just so that I could do my function. Now everything works correctly. Let's just check if they said we were supposed to format that to determine about the amount payable after the discount has been deducted. They didn't say anything about formatting, but just in case, let's just put our property sheet up over here and we can change the format to currency, just in case, if you want to be safe. I don't know. They didn't ask for that, so actually I shouldn't do it, but let's do it for safety. And now we can see that looks good. Right. Save and close. We're done with the queries. 5.5. Create a report named Report 55 based on the table visitors table to display the records as follows. And then they give us a screenshot. They say, take note of the following. The fields that display, grouping, a calculation, and the format of the visitors cost field. Right, so let's get cracking. They said based on the table visitors table. Right, so table visitors, create, and a report. The fields we need, let's have a look here, are pyramid, name, surname, and visitors cost. Pyramid, name, surname, and visitors cost. Next, it's grouped by pyramid. We can see that because this name doesn't repeat on each row. That means it's grouped by this pyramid name. So grouping is by pyramid. Next, if there was sorting, it would be the next field, but I can see it's not sorted because this is not in either descending or ascending order, so I'm not going to apply any sorting. Next, it doesn't seem to have changed any form of the layout, and they said the title that we must use is Report 55. Okay, that looks very close to what we want. Now we just need to add in this maximum amount and the answer at the bottom. This field is already formatted correctly. Now we just need to add in this calculation, the maximum amount. Okay, so close print preview, and I'm going to add in, so I'm going to open group and sort, and if we have a look here, you'll see the maximum amount is worked out for each pyramid. Do you see? Okay, so that's probably how much each visitor spent at that pyramid. So it's a calculation for this group. So I'm going to add a group footer because it's at the bottom of the group. And then I'm going to do a calculation. Calculations are also always done in a text box. Okay. And they showed us it's a max that they did. Max visitors cost. You'll notice I don't put in square brackets myself. The moment I click away, Access automatically puts in square brackets as long as there aren't any spaces in the field names. Okay. Now the label for this calculation is maximum amount. That goes there. And let's see what that looks like. Okay. So let's just move this up a little bit. And I think for safety, I'm just going to format this the same as visitors cost as well, especially because the screenshot does show it like that. And they also have a darker border. I don't know if that's important, but let's maybe do that anyway. So the darker border we can do here by format, shape, outline. We just choose an outline. And we can actually do the format here as well and change it to currency. The other place would have been on the design tab, property sheet, and change the format to currency at the top there. Okay, and let's go see. There you go, maximum amount. Let's just put it in the same position. I'm going to do that using the layout view so that I can see what I'm doing. So I'll just drag it there. I always prefer doing it while I've got my eyes on the data using layout view, because then I can actually see what it's going to look like. There you go. Then I don't accidentally make it too large or too small. Now it looks like the example. Okay. And that was access. Save, close, close.